Alrighty, wanted to make a quick video today on loading for the 44 special. And I don't really want this to be a how-to video. It's more or less just kind of some of my thoughts on the cartridge and some of its application as well. So I'd like to start out by reading from the Elmer Keith Six Guns book. You can't talk about the 44 special without mentioning Elmer Keith. In the book he says, ammunition companies, having squib-loaded the 44 special since its inception, have given the shooting world an erroneous opinion of its possibilities. As commercially loaded, it is a satisfactory target and small game cartridge, slightly superior to the 38 special for defense, but well under the 357 Magnum or 45 Colt. Hand-loaded for maximum performance, the 44 special exceeds them all in knockdown, stopping power, and long-range accuracy. I think that still holds true today. The 44 special is a really superb cartridge, especially from anywhere from small game to large game. So what we are loading today is again, this is a plinking round. This isn't even a target round. This is just some trash ammo that I'm trying to make, essentially. So we're using the Berry's 44 caliber, 240 grain, flat point plated bullet. Nothing special. Just kind of a cheap plinking bullet. I have some IMR PB. This is stuff that I'm literally just trying to get rid of at this point. I found some loads from Hodgkins for loading this in the 44 special. This is typically like a shotgun powder, although you can use it in many pistol calibers, especially more revolver calibers. However, you're not going to achieve the top velocities with it. So we're going to pair that with the CCI large pistol primers, nothing special. And we are using, again, newer 44 special brass. Something to note, there's two types of 44 special brass out there. There is the solid case head, which is this. And then there's some really old stuff. It's called the balloon head case. It has more case capacity. However, it's not as strong. I've never actually seen any, but I've read about in a lot of different publications. So just something to note. And the gun we are loading for is the excellent Ruger Blackhawk. This is one of the flat top models, chambered in 44 special. This is a freaking awesome gun, man. This is such a fun gun. I love shooting it. It's accurate. It's just one of those nice pieces to have laying around, you know. Super cool. Great gun. So, before we get into it, the load data I found for the IMR PB, again, was on Hodgkins' website. I couldn't find it in any of my reloading manuals. And we're going to be using 5 grains of this over the 240 grain bullet. So yeah, that's what's going on. Let's get to it. Alrighty, so I'm using my Hornady lock and load auto progressive press. Had this press for a number of years. It's been a pretty good press. It's not without its faults though, that's for sure. They definitely have their quirks, like I'm sure most progressive presses do. But all in all, it's an okay press. Today I'm using a set of the 44 Magnum and 44 Special dies. They of course come as a kit because 44 Special and 44 Magnum are interchangeable, of course. So just to note, I think part of my obsession with 44 Special is probably from my Elmer Keith readings. The guy really did a lot for the reloading crowd. And see, that was kind of one of its little hiccups there. Sometimes with larger rim cases, the ejector on here doesn't always like to spit them out properly. But anyways, you know, Keith got kind of a obsession with the 44 Special, and he hot rodded the things. He really bumped up the velocities quite dangerously. I mean, he blew up a lot of single action Colts. to note, he was, for his target loads, he had kind of settled on a 4 grains of bullseye over his preferred Lyman cast bullet, mold number 429421. And he said that that was a exceptional, accurate load for targets. He also noted that it's also a very good small game load, being very slow, doesn't ruin any meat on game like rabbits or any game that size pretty much. So I kind of thought that was pretty interesting, considering that he also shot pretty much every big game animal in North America with the 44 Special, using a different load, of course. For his big game hunting loads, he would load again a 250 grain cast bullet with the same bolt as before, the Lyman 429421, and he had a couple different loads that he used, but the one he kind of settled on again when we found out about the new fully supported case heads instead of the old balloon case heads, he was using 18.5 grains of 2400 powder, propelling that little 250 grain bullet at 1200 feet per second. So I mean, that's a butt stomping round, if you ask me. You know, it's certainly nothing to be messed around with. And he also, I have a book of his called Gun Notes, which is pretty good, and it's pretty much just a lot of his articles that he wrote through the year compiled into a book. But in that book, he wrote an article at one time where he pretty much surmised that bullets like the 44 Special and the 44 Magnum penetrated deeper on game animals than a high velocity rifle bullet, expanding bullet. Now, that being said, I mean, that we have come a long ways in the way of rifle bullets, and especially expanding rifle bullets, since the 1960s and 70s, when that article was wrote, and he was doing all that testing. But it's definitely interesting nonetheless. And I would agree with that. I've only done a little hunting with the 44 Special. I've only taken one animal with it so far. I definitely plan on taking more. A friend of mine and I went to Texas, and we went javelina hunting. And I shot a javelina about, I think it was maybe 40 or 45 yards with a 180 grain bullet. The bullet did not expand, just passed through the animal. Ended up hitting top of the lungs, and he was down pretty much. But anyways, I do aspire to shoot some larger game. Probably gonna try to take a mule deer here next year. We'll see how that goes with some loads I have worked up. And when I was working those loads up, I really don't have time for casting anymore. I shoot way too much competition, and I got family stuff, and just don't have time to cast. So essentially, I loaded up a load that would be legal to hunt with in my state of Colorado. We need 1,000 foot-pounds of energy at I think 100 yards or something like that. But I referenced some kind of plus P data, if you will, and I got that from the Handloaders Ammunition Reloading Journal. They had an article in February of 2018 in volume number 53, number 1. And it had some really great load data in there for some hotter rounds in the 44 Special, if that's what you're looking for. So I worked a load up around a Hornady XTP, and I look forward to trying that, and hopefully I can take something down with it. And you can see I've had a few hiccups there on that ejector. I find if I go slower, it seems to feed them out better. But it's not terrible. You know, little hiccup here and there. I will say it only really happens on rim cases. Rimless cases, This the Hornady lock and load AP doesn't seem to do that. We're just chugging along here. I don't know if I'll share this whole video with you guys or not, but I do enjoy loading for the 44 Special, and I really enjoy shooting it. It's a very pleasant round if you haven't shot it. I highly suggest, if you have a 44 Magnum, that you either reload or pick up some 44 Specials for practice, or just enjoying your hand cannon without shooting hand cannon ammo. Because the 44 Special does make a really fun and enjoyable round to shoot. Something else, I don't know if any of you have read Bill Jordan's book, No Second Place Winner. He was a Border Patrol agent. Gosh, I think back in the 50s. But he talks about the 44 Special and using it on the border in gunfights. He was a famous gunfighter, and he wrote a book on it, and it's a really fun book. He was big into hip shooting. Pretty fascinating stuff. Definitely a timepiece, if you will. But I think I'll probably cut the video off here. As you see, we've got some nice 44 Special here, ready to be fired out of the excellent Ruger Black Hawk.